Peace. Quick think fast. Just thought about right quick. I came across a KT the Arc Degree video. Matter of fact, speaking on iron, and it kind of pushed a bunch of insights together for me. Right quick that I want to share with y'all. Now, for one, that he brought up on the video as far as like always, which a lot of us speak on how chlorophyll in the blood is like one molecule away from being the same, as far as like if you swap out magnesium for iron, so the iron within the equation, and I forgot what it's surrounded by, you know what I'm saying, but you got the iron molecule. Basically, if you was to remove the iron molecule from out of our blood and replace it with magnesium, it would turn to chlorophyll. And I always put the asterisk and keep it real. It got like a little bit of a different formation, as far as chlorophyll, like, like with the bonds or whatever. It has somewhat of a little different, kind of like, matter of fact, with like psilocybin, psilocin, serotonin, melatonin, like how all those things are similar but just a little off. That's kind of how magnesium, how chlorophyll in our blood is. But picture the reason why, the plant life deals with the chlorophyll is, well, I'll put it like this, or even vice versa. The reason why we have iron, in which I knew, that iron generated electricity, but when KT broke it down as far as like, we move a lot, like plants, they just stay still, and they, matter of fact, they really in that zen and with that being, you know what I'm saying? They allow things to come to them. So they don't need that iron, because they don't, they're not moving around. They don't need a surge of electricity to, generate energy to move around on that level. But, us as, as electromagnetic beings, and us as beings who move around and have movement, that iron generate movement, you know what I'm saying? That iron generate electricity, that generates movement. And iron also generates well, in essence, the blood, or hemoglobin, is dealing with, oxidation and bringing oxygen into the body also. But another thing too is, think about that our blood vessels are constantly pumping, so it's constantly allowing blood to flow throughout our body. Like right now as I'm speaking, they got blood flowing through my face, you know what I'm saying? And that's iron. That's a metal that picks up on electricity, moving, you know what I'm saying? And with that movement creates the electrical energy, you know what I'm saying? Again, the heart carries the electrical charge, and the brain does, but the heart carries more of the electrical charge than the brain. Matter of fact, and they use electricity when you're trying to deal with, manipulating the brain or the heart, in the essence of like trying to bring somebody, stop somebody from transitioning, they hit them with the electrical surge in the heart. And then dealing with MK Ultra, when they trying to brainwash people, they, hit people with electrical surges to the brain. Because again, from electricity and down to sounds and vibrations, our brains pick up on different wavelengths from an alpha state, which when you put a brain in an alpha state, it is easier to program the subconscious. So I would think that, whatever they're doing with MK Ultra would be putting the brain in the alpha state in order to, program, the brain. But what I was going to get into, I don't want to lose my point. Oh, with the iron pumping through the body generates, electricity. That's another reason why, in our foods, it's good to have that iron and that copper, because copper also is, conducting electricity, and also allows for more of a connection to the ancestors, you know what I'm saying? Because we're dealing with light and electricity, you know what I'm saying? You got to be vibrating close to the level of the ancestors for them to even see or hear you, So you got to be generating that light, and that comes to the diet, that comes to meditation and eat. Of course, I'm about to be repetitive, but I say it comes to eating, right? With the diet, meditation, dealing with, certain crystals, altar work, because altar work is like generating energy in essence. But, and not getting off subject, the iron, another thing I thought of And it made sense. He brought up how the iron with the females, you know, where you losing blood during your cycle, you know, and where it gets to too much, it could be like hemorrhaging, and then you get, you know, anemic, you know, that's a lack of iron, you know, because of lack of blood. And how even in your being, you know, like with your feelings and the way you operate, you even operate from a cold place. And I tied something together as far as like all these, you know, allegories and stuff, in which he spoke a little bit to that, but in a different essence. I'm thinking about how like with the menstrual cycle is tied to the moon, and the moon is tied to, you know, a feminine energy and somewhat of a like a cold nighttime energy, you know, like unlike the sun that's light and warm, you know, in which, and we're talking about energies. We're not talking about, because of course a mother could have warm love for her kid, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking on a human level, we're talking energy. And you know, the moon energy is, you know, it's night, it's cold, just like, as a matter of fact, and dealing with the menstrual cycle, which it coincides with, where, you know, and then when the menstrual cycle, if you know, losing a little bit too much, but just losing blood in general is going to make, you know, a little bit of your iron levels go down. That's why I always bring up hematite as a great stone to, you know, help reproduce those blood cells and help keep that balance of iron in the body, you know. Matter of fact, even magnetic hematite would be also great, but you gotta make sure pacemakers and defibrillators, you want to stay away from it. But also dealing with that, so you got the iron dealing with, you know, the lack of iron, dealing with electricity. And think about it like this: electricity is that male energy, you know what I'm saying, that solar phallic electrical energy. The magnetic energy is the feminine energy, you know what I'm saying, the cold, the dark, you know what I'm saying. And think about it too with analogies where so when the female's on their menstrual cycle, they're losing a little bit of their electrical energy, or that, you know, that male energy. So in essence, you know what I'm saying, that's where, you know, these allegories is same thing, as above, so below. You know, my favorite thing, you know, as above, so below, as in the cosmos, goes on in the bodies, goes on in the cells within the bodies, and the organelles within the cells. Like, you know, it's just a deeper thing. But all that tied together. And then another thing I thought of, which he also dipped a little bit into, and that's one of my things too. Like I'm one of them people where if somebody did a video on a situation, I'm not gonna bring up something from that without, you know, like kind of giving that little footnote. Hey, that's kind of like they presented this idea, now I'm just elaborating, you know. But also, say for instance, it brought up the 26, like how iron, you know, deals with the atomic number 26, and I forgot atomic numbers if it deals with electrons. Because matter of fact, that's why also iron has more electrons than magnesium, and that's why it generates more electrical energy. But the number 26 also has to deal with, like, at the beginning was the word, you know what I'm saying, the word, the foundation, you know, and going into how the Freemasons use it, like the how you got James Bond, or James is a nickname for Jimmy Bond, or your Bond, you know, your word is bond, my balls is my word, you know what I'm saying. Grabbing your balls and 2-ball cane, you know what I'm saying. That's all, you know, and that's all dealing with the pillars or the foundation. Because when you think about it, you know, the word at first was the word, you know, the words creating the physical. And then when you think about the number 26, and, you know, with it being, you know, how many letters we got in the alphabet, you know, that we use, and how blood, in essence, is the foundation of, you know what I'm saying, of our internals, as far as, like, you know, blood pumps through basically everything in our internals. So of course, you know, you got the bone is the, you know, the hard structured foundation, but you know that foundation, because even the bones have blood running through it, you know, with the bone marrow and things of this nature. So you see how the blood just runs through everything, you know, like, so you can see the blood is the foundation tied to that number 26, you know, and how all this is allegories tied into, you know, Bible stories and fairy tales and all these different stories that's really, you know, ancient indigenous stories turned, you know, into Walt Disney movies. To be real honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of, I can't think of that now because I haven't really broke down any Walt Disney movies for myself. Like I probably, and then I haven't even really watching it, breakdowns on it. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? All this allegory and all these things tie into the way the body work, the way the cosmos work, the way the organs work, the way atoms work, the way the internals of the atoms work, and, you know, deeper and deeper fractals of the universe, you know. But just wanted to touch on that, you know, how the iron generates electricity, and because we move more than a plant, obviously, that's why, you know, we have iron and blood instead of magnesium and chlorophyll. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know I got the video too, where, on another note, how is dealing with melanin and quartz. Like what quartz is to earth is what melanin is to, you know, the human being. And not so much the melanocytes or the skin melanin, but it's more of the internal melanin, which I always speak of, because I let people know, like, hey, you may have people that don't have as much as visible skin melanin and, you know, still have, you know, melanin in them, and it's visibly shown through physical attributes or metaphysical attributes. Whether it's somebody who seems to be white and they got, you know, good channeling abilities, or you got somebody like Blake Griffin who's, you know, brighter than somebody from, you know, Africa or dark people, but yet he could jump out the roof. You know what I'm saying? That's internal melanin. It don't always have to necessarily be visible, but it is like it's like crystal generators, you know. That's why, like, matter of fact, that's where the rhythm come from, you know, like what our brethren and sister that lack the melanin crystals, you know, they don't really connect with the rhythms as easy as, you know, somebody who has more of that internal melanin. That's why, like, with the music, from sports to all that, you know what I'm saying, like, you got brethren like Miles Davis and James Brown and all these people, Jimi Hendrix, you know what I'm saying, that connect, you know, with the vibrations of the universe and letting it come out. But there's a connection. Same thing with the quartz crystals connecting on Earth and, you know, giving out. And on a smaller level, we benefiting from, you know, from the quartz. And smaller beings or smaller things are benefiting from, you know, from us and our vibration. As above, so below, and it continues to go to the fractal microcosm, to the fractal macrocosm. But peace, blessings, happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. I know y'all seeing me look off, but when I'm on my phone, I'm looking at myself on this side, but the camera is actually right here. You know, but peace. Happy now. Now the vibrate, of course. We're not going too far in the future. We're not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace.